Have you ever looked at an object and thought, man, I wish I could turn that into a 3D model? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving deep into Meta's incredible SAM 3D model to do exactly that. I'm going to walk you through everything from the initial setup all the way to seeing your very first digital creation. Let's dive right in.
So the big idea here is honestly pretty simple, but it is so powerful. You feed the model a bunch of regular pictures you took with your phone, and it builds a complete 3D version of that object. This is a real game changer for creators, for developers, or really for any of us who've just been curious about 3D scanning.
So, what is SAM 3D? Well, it's this super advanced AI model from Meta that takes their famous segment anything tech and kicks it up to a whole new dimension. Literally. Instead of just finding objects in a 2D photo, it generates a full 3D mesh, complete with depth and color, all from just a handful of images.
Okay, first things first. Before we can start making cool 3D stuff, we've got to get our system ready to roll. So let's quickly run through what you're going to need. All right, on the software side, it's pretty standard stuff. Python, PyTorch, and Git. But, and this is the big one, look at the hardware. You really want an NVIDIA GPU with at least 6 gigs of VRAM. I mean, you could try to run this on a CPU, but it's the difference between waiting a few minutes versus, a few hours. So GPU is definitely the way to go. The installation is actually super straightforward. It's just 3 quick commands in your terminal. First, you clone the code from GitHub. Second, you jump into that new directory and install all the packages it needs. And finally, and this is a crucial part, you download the pre-trained model weights. Think of this file as the AI's brain. You just need to download it and pop it into the checkpoints folder. And boom, just like that, the setup is done. See? Easy. With the code and the model weights all in the right place, our foundation is solid. Now we get to the fun part. All right, with our system primed and right, it's time to get creative. Let's talk about actually turning our photos into a 3D model. Now, listen up, because this is important. The quality of your final model really depends on the photos you give it. Think of yourself as a crime scene photographer gathering evidence for the AI. You'll want somewhere between 6 and 20 photos that cover every single angle. And make sure your lighting is nice and even, the background is simple, and please avoid anything shiny. Once you've got your shots, just dump them all into a folder named input_images. This is the moment of truth. With your images all ready to go, you run this one single command in your terminal. That's it. This one line kicks off the whole shebang. The AI segments the object, predicts its depth, aligns all the different views, and builds that final 3D mesh. This is where the magic happens. So, you've run the command, you've waited a bit, and now it's time for the big reveal. Let's take a look at what the model actually made for us and how you can view your final result. So, inside your Output 3D folder, you're going to find a few new files. Now, the one you really care about, the star of the show, is mesh.obj. That is your 3D model. The other files handle things like the colors and textures, but for just seeing your creation, that OBJ file is all you need. So, how do you actually look at this thing? Well, the best free tool out there for this is Blender. It's super simple. You just open it up, go to File, then Import, and find Wavefront with .obj. Select your mesh.obj file, and that's it. Your creation will pop right up on the screen, ready for you to spin it around and check it out. Okay, so you've got the basics down. You can make a model, but now let's talk about how you go from making a good model to a great one. I've got some pro tips for you that will seriously level up your results. I've got 5 essential tips for you. And trust me, paying attention to these little details is going to make a massive difference in how good your final 3D model looks. Tip number 1, lighting is everything. You want soft, even lighting with no harsh shadows. Those shadows can really confuse the AI when it's trying to figure out the object's shape. Think of a cloudy day outside. That's like perfect lighting. Second, keep that background simple. A busy, cluttered background makes it way harder for the model to separate your object from its surroundings. You want the AI focusing on your subject, not the plant in the corner, right? A plain wall or a simple sheet of paper works wonders. Tip 3, more is better. More photos, that is. While you can get by with 6, pushing that number up to 15 or 20, especially with lots of different angles, gives a model so much more information to work with. It's like giving it more puzzle pieces. You're just going to get a more complete and accurate result. Number 4, and this is a big one, stay away from shiny, reflective objects.
Things that are metallic or transparent can totally mess with the depth estimation because they're reflecting the room around them. The model just gets confused. So, for best results, stick with objects that have a matte finish.
And my final tip for you, use high-resolution images. This one's pretty simple. The texture that gets wrapped around your 3D model is literally stitched together from the photos you provide. So the sharper and clearer your input pictures are, the sharper and more detailed that final model is going to be. And that's pretty much the entire process, from getting your computer ready all the way to generating a beautiful 3D model. You now have all the tools and the know-how you need to start turning physical objects into digital assets. So, I guess there's only one question left. What will you create first?